The US Assistant Secretary of State Nisha Biswal has sent out a strong message to Pakistan. Speaking exclusively to India Today, Biswal said that Pakistan needs to do much more against terrorism. She has also said that the US is working with Pakistan on action against India's most wanted terrorists, Hafiz Mohammad Saeed and Dawood Ibrahim. In an exclusive interview to India Today's senior editor Gaurav Sawant, Nisha Biswal also assured that the US has no problem in granting India access to 26/11 perpetrator David Coleman Headley, but no word on Zakir Rehman Lakhvi. Here's Nisha Biswal in an exclusive conversation to Gaurav Sawant.
You come to India at a time when there is tension between India and Pakistan. India is accusing Pakistan of sponsoring terror here. And America is providing military hardware to Pakistan, air-to-air missiles, air-to-sea missiles. Is it time for the US, which again is a victim of Pakistan-sponsored terror, to freeze military sales to Pakistan?
Gaurav, thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to meet with you and to chat today. Listen, the U.S.-India relationship is a very deeply important one to both countries. We recognize that across all fields, whether it's in the economic partnership, the strategic partnership, and increasingly the defense partnership, that we have strong ties and interests that converge and strong partnership opportunities. And I'm very pleased that Defense Secretary Ash Carter was able to have such a productive visit just recently and was able to sign a 10-year defense framework agreement between the United States and India. Obviously, one of the issues where we share concerns is on the issue of combating terrorism. This is an issue where we have very deep partnership with India. It's also an issue where we partner very strongly with Pakistan to address the issue of terrorism that both strikes within Pakistan, as well as have conversations about how we can combat terrorism within the region as a whole.
Hafiz Mohammad Saeed is a designated global terrorist. The US has a $10 million bounty on him. What's the point if your ally Pakistan takes no action against him and he continues to lead the Eid prayers from the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore? So
we continue to work with our colleagues across the region and including Pakistan to address our concerns about individuals who we believe need to be pursued and brought to justice. And we will continue to pursue justice on behalf of American victims, as well as our deep concern about the Indian victims of terrorism. And
are you disappointed with Pakistan?
Like I said, I think we are seeing progress in many areas, but would we like to see more progress across a broader set of concerns? Absolutely, and that's something that we are working towards every day in that relationship.
So Hafiz Saeed will continue to roam free because nothing seems to be happening to him. The US doesn't have clout, it seems, to send him to jail. You continue to pay money, $1 billion to Pakistan, civil and military aid, and he's on the streets. Zakir Rehman Lakhvi is on the streets. Zarar Shah, perhaps the only man in jail at this point of time. Why is it that there's so much talk but no action against terror perpetrators? They've killed American citizens, they've killed Indian citizens.
And I think we continue to work very aggressively in those efforts to work with our Indian colleagues, as well as work in our relationship with Pakistan to address those very concerns.
One of the plotters of 26/11 was David Coleman Headley, an American double agent. Many said a Pakistan-American agent. He's now in an American jail. India wants access to David Coleman Headley to unravel that bigger conspiracy. Will the US give India access to David Coleman Headley?
So we certainly have worked very closely with India and have provided access in the past, and we will continue to work with India and address whatever requirements as appropriate. So I think that this is something that we are happy to work with our Indian colleagues on through our law enforcement channels.
That's a yes.
And so, like I said, I think that those are conversations that we're having on how we can support India's requirements. So.
Dawood Ibrahim. Now, Dawood Ibrahim, again, a terror mastermind involved in 1993 blasts. US intelligence, Indian intelligence, global intelligence says he's in Karachi. He runs a multi-billion-dollar empire from Karachi. Why is it that we have failed to nab him and curtail his terror network?
So I think, like I said, we continue to work with our counterparts in Pakistan to address these very concerns and to try to, again, pursue justice for those victims of these heinous terror attacks and to bring to justice those who perpetrate.
In your conversations in New Delhi now, are you also talking about this hotline between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Barack Obama, a Prime Minister to President hotline?
Well, certainly one of the things of the many important outcomes of President Obama's historic Republic Day visit to India was an agreement between the two leaders to establish a hotline. And so we are moving forward and working with our colleagues in trying to operationalize that, and we look forward to that.
Is there a timeline?
I think we are working to see how quickly we can bring that online.
Are we also looking at closer cooperation when it comes to India-US defense relationship, in terms of perhaps the US had a proposal to build an aircraft carrier together? Is there some forward movement, concrete movement?
I think you saw that when Defense Secretary Ash Carter was in India, that we had a number of very important outcomes. We had the signing of the Defense Framework Agreement for the next 10 years. We also had the announcement of a working group on carrier technology, and we look forward to working very closely with our Indian friends on seeing how we can advance this very important platform for the Indian military as well.
And there's some related breaking news just coming in just an hour after US Assistant Secretary of State Nisha Biswal broke that information here on India Today. We've got information that a top prosecutor in the Zakir Rehman Lakhvi case has said that voice samples cannot be used as evidence, as there is no law in Pakistan to prove their authenticity. Remember, just a couple of days ago, you heard something similar. That was from Zakir Rehman Lakhvi's lawyer, who said that this was not possible. Now the Federal Investigating Agency's Special Prosecutor Mohammad Azhar Chaudhry has said that though there exist laws to permit the use of electronic evidence, there is no provision under which an accused can be forced to provide an audio recording of his voice, which can then be matched with available samples. The prosecutor's assertions come, remember, nearly a week after the Prime Ministers of India and Pakistan agreed during their meeting in Russia to expedite the Mumbai case trial. And what this basically means is that the Pakistan Prime Minister and his team have basically been dishonest in committing to looking at voice samples as part of the 2611 trial. Senior editor Gaurav Sawant is with me live on this. Gaurav, Nisha Biswal, US Assistant Secretary of State and envoy for Barack Obama, saying here on India Today that Pakistan needs to do much more on terror. And now we've got this breaking news, ironically, right after we broadcast that interview, that the Federal Investigating Agency of Pakistan has now pretty much endorsed what Zakir Rehman Lakhvi's own lawyer had said, saying that voice samples cannot be used and they are inadmissible as part of this entire case of 2611 is concerned. Does this mean Nawaz Sharif was lying? He was lying to India.
Shiv, Nawaz Sharif and now Pakistan only indulging in legalese. They're speaking legal jargon. And when you deal with terror, Pakistan has set up special courts to deal with terror in their own country after the attack on Peshawar Army Public School. But when it comes to terror that is aimed at India, Pakistan is speaking with a forked tongue as always. And that is India's biggest disappointment. Whether it's the United States, Russia or China, several world powers are nudging India to constantly be in dialogue with Pakistan. But sadly, nobody is nudging Pakistan hard enough to crack down on global terror that emanates from Pakistani soil. So now the Pakistan prosecutor is saying that Pakistan law does not permit voice samples as electronic evidence to be given to India. Would they say the same for Army Public School Peshawar perpetrators? Clearly they would not. So they're speaking with a forked tongue only because they don't want to crack down on Zakir Rehman Lakhvi.
Yes.
And Shiv, as you well know, you covered 2611 Mumbai terror attacks. Zakir Rehman Lakhvi is not the top man. It is Hafiz Muhammad Saeed and officers of Pakistan's ISI.
Right.
Now, Pakistan is setting the bar so low that nobody will even then think of prosecuting Hafiz
This
Saeed.
is stunning duplicity by Pakistan. If the Federal Investigating Agency and its country's laws deem voice samples to be inadmissible, then what business did Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and his diplomatic team in Ufa, Russia, have in committing to exploring the possibility of voice samples when they shook hands with Indian Prime Prime Minister Narendra Modi just a few days ago. We're going to keep a track of this developing story. We're going to get voices from India and Pakistan on that big duplicity that we've been able to identify right here in that piece of breaking news. Well, it turns out today is Eid. The goodwill witnessed between India and Pakistan at Ufa has deteriorated in such a short time, a shockingly short time. Ceasefire violations apart, Pakistan today refused to take sweets and flowers on the occasion of Eid at the Atari and Husainwala border post from the Border Security Force. Remember, every year it is a tradition that sweets are exchanged on the occasion of Eid, but no sweets were exchanged at the Chakanda Bagh post in the Poonch sector of Jammu either. This is a major break from tradition between the two countries and is really representative of just where hostilities currently stand between the two countries. The pictures on your screen of the warm handshake between the two leaders, and just days later hostilities have peaked to such an extent that India and Pakistan have decided not to exchange sweets at their respective borders.